from another planet? Is Janet 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 from another planet?
TV MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone, to Team Shit Show 2.0. And with me tonight is Brandi from Shepherd's Watch. Thank you for joining me, Brandi.
Hello. Oh, my gosh, I love that opening song. That was too cute. I was jamming to it.
That band said I could use your music, so I was like, yeah, I'll use it. Thank you so much. They're called Falling Mirror, and I think they're from Australia. So that was pretty cool.
Yes, yourself.
So I just love it. I think it's great. Well, Brandi, since you were on here last time, we talked about, exploited children that were trafficked, things like that. So what is your plan tonight? What do you would like to discuss tonight?
Oh, so we've got a couple different articles to discuss for sure that you've got to share, but there is one of the big things. Do you want me to go into those? Is that the numbers that we've talked about already?
Well, no, just go ahead and just give a little overview about what Shepherd's Watch is, that type of stuff, and what you guys do.
Sweet. So I'll pretend like some people are seeing me that have never seen me before.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. All right. So my name is Brandi. I'm the communications director for Shepherd's Watch Foundation. We're an organization out of Texas, and we specialize in the investigative intelligence side of sex trafficking cases in Texas. What sets us apart, we'll talk more about it tonight, I'm sure, but what sets us apart in a nutshell is that we do the boots on the ground, hunting the bad guys work that no one else does. We have an in-house private investigation team. So that sets us apart from everyone else.
Right. So yeah.
I'm honored to be a part of it. It's an amazing team. And I'm the communications director for the nonprofit.
Well, that sounds awesome. And I know that your heart is in it. So, and I know that can't be easy, especially when you're dealing with anything that can, bad that happens with children or even anyone. I mean, basically any person that's trafficked, it's devastating. And that there's just not enough people out there to help the people once you do find them.
Yes, and that's what I want to make sure everyone knows too, is we do not, we don't have contact with victims turned survivors. We only have contact with law enforcement. So we assist all levels of law enforcement in order to bring the intel that's needed for arrest and conviction of traffickers and bring down their networks.
Well, that's great. Yeah. And I know you got a wonderful team because everybody involved is dedicated to saving as many children as you can. I know that you do that. And I've listened to you many times in spaces talking about it. And I can see that it's hard. It's hard, even if you don't get to see what the kids, and see them later on to see how they've done and how well they've achieved their lives after what happened to them. I know that it's something that has to weigh on you I know that I read things or see something on TV, and I've had a few things happen in my own family, and sometimes it keeps me up at night. I have a hard time sleeping. So I just want to say that I pray for you and everyone on your team, and for all the people that are involved, because I pray for you to give you strength and help you deal with the emotional part that I know it has to have on all of you.
Thank you for that. No, I definitely don't see what, most of our private investigators are undercover. So those are things that they see that I definitely don't. But I can say, just knowing the stories, right? There's certain stories that as board members we can know. And those stories that we can, know and hear, because that's not a lot. Most of that stays with the private investigators for cases, just to protect those cases, right?
Mhm.
But it's definitely a horrific thing, and it's not something that I ever really thought about until I had a friend go down to the border, and I've said that story before, how I got involved with Shepherd's Watch real quick, is the fact that I was just watching one of my personal friends who had went down to the Sassby, Arizona border. And he's just a regular guy who, like me and you, want to talk, share truth and do what we can. And he took a RV set up on the border, and he saw 96 children come through the border wall where he was in that 3 weeks that he was there. And he only felt like 3 of those children actually were going to their families, because he allowed them to use his phone to make contact with their so-called sponsors and families, what they thought was family, right? What most people would hope is the sponsor, and it's usually not the family. But
Yeah.
yes, opened my eyes to it. So I'm sure we'll go into a little bit more about that tonight. But yeah, it was God's path, and I thank God for the strength I do have to do it, Janet, because a lot of people can't really stand being in one of our spaces. I do the Trafficking Tuesday space every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 Central on my profile. And, I get a lot of DMs from people who I see in other spaces, and I'll invite them, and
Mhm.
I won't realize it's a little too heavy for them. And they'll
Yeah.
DM me, and they're like, hey, thank you so much for the invite. I've been here, love what y'all are sharing, but I got a dip right now. It's a little much. And I get that. So I'm just grateful God's given me the strength to do it every day like I do.
Me too.
I just
Uh,
want to keep talking and sharing truth about it.
yeah, and it is hard because after I first saw that one documentary, The Eyes of the Devil, about those 4 brothels with children 10 and under in it, I
Mhm.
cry. I still cry. I think I've seen the documentary about 30 times, and I still cry my eyes out, because it's just devastating that that type of thing actually happens in the United States and around the world to children, and that adults are the ones doing the damage. And then the aftermath of the children that do survive, uh, it's traumatic. It's a traumatic life that these children lead. But the thing is, the gentleman that did the documentary, it warmed my heart to see someone that through everything he went through during this documentary, and to do it, and to fight to even get to air the whole thing. And the money that he was able to raise, they were able to purchase the child and find a home for it. Okay, so the baby that the girl was about to sell to these people. So it's devastating, and that's just one aspect, and
Right.
one child. Okay, and it just breaks my heart when I think about the United States being the biggest trafficking country in the world,
We're also
and
the biggest
people don't want to believe it.
we're
You
also
know?
the biggest child porn viewers as well. So let that sink in too. Yeah.
I know. That's what I don't understand. I don't know how any person
Mhm.
can
No.
see a person give birth to a baby and hold it in your arms, feed it and love it, and then look at anybody else's child as any more than that, than
And,
want
and,
to love
and
it.
unfortunately, there's a lot of familial trafficking. People don't realize that. I know that we live in a world that we wish that didn't occur, but it does. And more times than not, there is familial trafficking, especially in Texas now.
I know.
So Yeah, I don't know how deep you want me to go there, but man, I'm just ready to talk.
Well, good. Well, I was going to go ahead and bring up the very first thing that we have for this is to stop the shame.
Yes.
And I will let you talk about it. So just let me know where you'd like me to start off at, the mission or the leadership board of directors. I mean, where would you like to?
I want you to go hit that take action button. But before you do, let's go ahead and tell them where they can find this. So guys, this is a campaign. And a few weeks ago, there was a roundtable held by Senator Grassley. And I should have found that and I didn't. It was by Senator Grassley and Senator Johnson, and I can't remember the other guy's name right now. But it was a roundtable in Congress, senators. Yeah, they're in Congress, right? See, this is my realness, guys. I don't know all this stuff.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So we're not professional.
At a roundtable, Jeremiah's probably on YouTube going, "Yeah, there you go." I told him, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so nervous." So there was a roundtable and it was discussing how the unaccompanied minors program, unaccompanied children program, UAC, it's very broad right now, guys. Anyone can get a child. Literally, they can pay $535 and you can be a sponsor to get a child. This is also feeding over into the foster system and the way we handle domestic cases in these types of things for children. So what we're wanting them to do is we're wanting them to go to americasfuture.net and we want them to hit the take action button where it says stop the shame on the top. I believe you just went to that one link you're going to give them, right? Okay. And then when you go to take action, we're wanting you to call your senators and your House of Representatives. Now, here's the reason. So there's been over 500,000 children. Am I giving feedback or anything?
No, every so often there's like an echo, but it's okay.
Okay. If I need to do something different, let me know. But I am allowing myself in this room, so I should be good. So there are over 500,000 children that have came through the border since it's been wide open with the administration we have now. And we want our senators and House Representatives to push for there to be a review. And that's what CRA is. It's oh my gosh. I can't see what the C is for.
Going down?
Review, hold on. No. It's something Review Act. And right now I can't think of it, what the name of it is, because I didn't look up before we got on. He's probably going to tell me on a text message. It'll probably ding any minute. But CRA, so it's oh my goodness. It says it in there somewhere.
It says what you can do now. Read the short resolution, contact your reps and senators, post a vote yeah for the CRA video.
Yes.
Encourage your friends and use vote yeah for CRA.
All right, so it's vote yay. So what we're wanting to do is we're wanting you to call your House of Representatives and your senators and tell them Congressional Review Act. There it goes. So we want them to vote yes to give the unaccompanied children program a Congressional Review Act.
Yeah, there. Now they can copy that and share it. So copy and paste that.
That's going to be your hashtag. Okay.
Yeah, that's your hashtag, people.
And it says it right there. Now look, it's so easy. It's so easy, Janet. Check that out.
Yeah,
all they have to do
is here's Arkansas. This is where I am. And I would click on it and see it has the address that you need, the website for Senate and the House right here to click on. So whichever state you go to, you can click on it. Here's Texas.
So thank you to America's Future for making it so easy for us.
I know, isn't this great?
Literally, we
every
only have
single state.
Yes.
Every single state has a couple links on it. So just go to the bottom of the page or to the middle of the page and then click on the state that you're from. And then there's a few videos that you can watch or share.
Stop right there. So where did the children go? That one right there. Y'all must watch that. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay,
Oh my
here
gosh.
we go. I'll play it.
You've seen the images. Millions of migrants, many being unaccompanied children, streaming across the United States southern border. Desperate families blend with criminals, having paid gangs and cartels for their transit. Through this criminal exploitation of innocence and the very policies of the U.S. immigration system, children remain the most vulnerable. America's Future now brings you stories from the front line, not bureaucrats, but everyday citizens and public servants demanding answers for all Americans, whose billions of taxpayer dollars have been spent on a broken system. Reunited for the first time, these 4 brave whistleblowers, 2 current federal employees and 2 from private government contractors, share stories of what they witnessed working around the Pomona Fairgrounds Migrant Intake Facility in 2021. The Southern California facility processed nearly 9,000 unaccompanied children over its 8-month operation.
I'm Tara Rodas, here in Washington, D.C. Behind me is the spirit of justice with a child by her side. I've been a federal employee for more than 20 years. I was deployed to the Pomona Fairplex in 2021, and I started off as a youth care worker, later promoted to the deputy of the federal case management team. Justice is vital to all Americans, especially to our children, who must be protected and defended from evil. That's why I'm proud as an HHS whistleblower to be joined today by brave public servants and insiders who are going to be coming forward for the first time to tell their full stories. Together, we will expose how the U.S. government put children into the hands of unvetted sponsors. Some are criminals and traffickers and members of transnational criminal organizations who sex traffic and labor traffic the children.
And a lot of these kids were lost as to where is it they were heading to.
So Carlos, based on the email that you just shared with us, it's clear that the government knew that children were not going to the correct people.
Correct. My name's Carlos Arellano. I was an unaccompanied migrant escort across the United States. My job was to move children from point A to point B, and we used to move kids in the thousands per week.
MVM Inc., a private security contractor, was awarded a multi-million-dollar contract for the Department of Homeland Security in 2020, amounting to nearly $700 million.
And you keep telling them and you keep telling them and nothing is being done. It weighs very heavy, very heavy. My name is Mayra Moreno. I worked at the Pomona Fairgrounds for 6 months. I began working there as a case manager, then became a case manager lead with backgrounds and fingerprints.
Maxim Healthcare Services was contracted to manage the operations at the Pomona, California Immigration Intake Facility in April 2021 by Cherokee Federal. Cherokee Federal was awarded a nearly $900 million contract for these services.
We cannot continue to fund a program that has failed over and over again, year after year. How many times does this have to go before Congress? How many times does the Inspector General have to do a report? My name is Deborah White. I'm a federal employee for over 10 years. I was selected for a detail to the HHS Pomona Fairplex to assist with the undocumented children. I was selected because of my project management and contracting skills. I'm also a native Spanish speaker.
We must ask ourselves, where did these children go? All right, so let's talk about what was our first day like.
When I was in orientation, it was a joke. I went with another case manager that was also starting that day with me. And when we go in there, it was just chaotic. Everybody was doing different things, getting pulled from different directions. There was no organization. And so I was like, what am I doing? How am I going to help? There was no proper training. So it was just very chaotic. My first day, my first experience there. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tara, you're familiar with my first day because we've been together since the beginning. You know, we took a photo arriving in California. We were very hopeful, very excited to come and, do good work. You know, we thought, hey, regardless of where you lie on the political spectrum, it doesn't matter. You know, we are here to help children, however you feel about the situation. There was no structure, no organization, which was very surprising to me because HHS has been doing this for a very long time. And I would think that they had already standard operating procedures to ensure, a smooth process, but it was not that way. It was absolutely chaotic, and there was just a lot of finger pointing. The government blamed the contractor blamed the government for lack of guidance.
Yeah, so in 2021 is when you guys were all on Pomona, right? So my first day dealing with Pomona is I showed up to California. You meet all these people you had never seen before, and everybody's talking. Everybody's like, "How long have you been here? How long have you been flying around with kids? How is it? What's your experience?" And then you start talking, and you find out that a lot of people sitting next to you that are now in charge of kids we're working in fast food, we're working in retail. So many areas that you're like, how are you ending up with children? They would tell you, I got hired yesterday. I got hired 2 days ago. I got hired last night, and they told me be ready this morning to fly out and head out to California. And you would tell yourself, I went through FBI fingerprints. I went through so many background checks that took months. And it's like, how are you letting people who don't know what they're doing, one, two, their backgrounds are not in yet, and they're about to have access to a child within 2 hours?
And they were always trying to come up with new crazy ideas of how to get something done. One of the more nefarious things I remember, maybe you'll remember this too, is when they were trying to vaccinate the children.
Yes.
And the children did not want to be vaccinated. And they implemented Operation Deep Freeze so that they could give a popsicle to a child to get their vaccination.
Oh, wow.
So,
Yes, I do remember they were talking about that in the command center one morning about the success of it, because you have a child who's, hungry, thirsty, whatever it is, after a long journey. And the first thing that they do when they, come off that bus is go to that medical tent where basically they're trying to coerce the kid to get a COVID vaccination. And if they don't want to, like, they'll offer them a popsicle. Again, hungry, thirsty child, offer them a popsicle to get a shot. Yeah.
Before you guys came in, I remember that one of the directors gathered all of the case managers and told us, come in because this is very important. And they said, please make sure that you're not sharing information because the feds are in the building and they're here to make deportations. So, in the beginning, we were very like, why are you looking at my paperwork? Leave me alone. We were like, why? And then I remember because we were sitting by the American flags. So I used to sit all the way in the back, and then you came in the back. And I was like, why is the Fed behind us? What is going on? And I didn't know what was happening because they had told us, the feds are here in the building and they're here to deport the children. And so as case managers, we were very passionate. We wanted to reunify the children with their family members. So having you there at first, it was very like nerve-wracking because we really didn't know what was going on, why you guys were there. So they instilled fear on the case management team. So after they said that, they said that's why it's very important that we work through these cases and we get these kiddos out. We only had, I believe at first it was something between maybe 16 to 18 days. Then that got cut to, I want to say 10 days. And then it was like a week to 8 days, no more than that. and you had to speed the process. You had to get the kids out before the feds would get them deported, especially your 17-year-olds.
Wow. So they were, Cherokee Federal was saying, we need to move the kids faster, move faster, move faster because of us.
Right.
That is stunning.
Right. And there were instances where case managers that were working in the morning had no idea what was going on with a certain case or cases that were happening at night, why those were being stalled because they were being red flagged. But they would say, here you go. You have an hour to get familiar with the case, and you got to present your case as to why this kid it hasn't left the facility. And so a lot of case managers would say, well, it's not my case. Well, now it is. It's assigned to you and you have an hour. You would go in front of Richard and the team. Richard Zapada was the one that was directing that facility there at the Pomona Fairplex. And so you would go in front of him and you can hear the yelling and the screaming, case managers coming out of the other building or across the room crying in tears because they had just been pretty much scolded in front of 50, 100 people.
Yeah, they would use shame tactics to try to get a case manager to process the child quickly through. And a lot of times, if there was a delay, it was because there was some red flag that came up. There was a reason for the delay. So this is why they were prioritizing speed over safety of the children.
Deborah, I think what you said, speed over safety, is a very critical thing, right?
Yes.
And then you're saying, that's pressure, move the cases, move the cases, move the cases. And we heard that, right? And somehow it was lost that these are children. I mean, these are little lives in our hands. I mean, I remember hearing children screaming for their parents. I've seen kids have panic attacks. We know of a child who had to be put on suicide watch in the psych ward.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
I remember that one because she was one of mine.
Wow.
She was one of my kiddos. But I also remember another one where one of the other case managers came to me and said, hey, this doesn't feel right. This person is impersonating the voice of a lady. And you were there that night. Debbie was there as well. We put the phone on speaker. And I remember, it was noisy, loud, and all of a sudden the whole room went quiet when they heard him speaking. And she red flagged that case. And they said, no, that's the sponsor. That kid is going.
So Tara, I think you'll recall the 911 call that we made when one of the ladies in transportation came to us and said, I have a troubling phone call. I'm on the phone with this gentleman. I'm getting ready to approve, the transport of this child. And he doesn't know the name of the child. So he went through a couple of names and then finally got it right, but it took him a while. So he told her, hold on, let me figure this out. And then finally gave her the correct name. I mean, we had such limited tools. Really what we did was create, a list of questions that would hopefully corroborate the relationship a little more. And that was us doing that on our own. I mean, that wasn't part of protocol, but we wanted to make sure we weren't delivering children to people that didn't know them. Anyhow, she came back over and said, when I called him the second time, there was someone in the background that screamed help, and then he hung up. And so I said at that point, Tara, we need to call 911.
911, what's your emergency?
Eventually, once we talked to law enforcement, they went out there and said that they went to the address. There was nothing there, so they went to the field next door, found a few trailers, maybe an old house, I don't remember exactly, but they found someone and they said that there was multiple people crammed into this space, but no one by the name that was given as the sponsor of this child. So they could not locate the person. And I remember the recommendation, of course, was made to deny at this point sending this child to this sponsor. However, we found out later that the child was sent, got through transportation and was sent. And so I know, Carlos, you know something about transportation. So the child that was red flagged and got sent anyways. You don't know about those kind of things, do you?
No, never. Never got told any kind of background on the children or anything like that. Look for any red flags. No, nothing. The environment's always so hostile because the word is everybody wants these contracts. Something you say to another NGO contractor,
Mm-hmm.
they can report you, and then we'll lose the contract. You guys will get fired. So do not speak to anybody but the kids. Grab your kids, grab your files, get on the bus. Don't ask anything else. And it was very concerning because some of my experiences were the kids would be on the bus with us and they would lean over and say, "Where are we going?" I wasn't told where I was going. And other kids would say they woke me up at 1 in the morning and told me someone's coming for me in 4 or 5 hours to have my stuff ready. And a lot of these kids were lost as to where is it they were heading to. Sometimes these kids would say, I don't know who it is who I'm going to. I was told it's my aunt, I was told it's my uncle, and that I met them when I was a baby. And then as the flight would continue on, these kids would get even more. Do you guys have a number where I can reach out to you guys if something happens? I would just say no. Uh, the end is at the airport at baggage claim, and that's it. Well, there was actual reports within the company where these kids were calling the government phone that we had and say, "Hey, I'm being treated bad.
Mm.
I'm being forced to work, and I'm only 13." Some kids would even go as far as to say, "I'm being raped.
Mm.
Yeah.
I'm being made sleep with multiple men." I only had access to the government phones where I would show up for a work day, and when I would come back from dropping the kid off, I would have to hand the phone back off to a supervisor or manager, and I wasn't allowed to have access to the phone outside of work.
So, Carlos, how was that experience for you when you got the kid and then transported them to their sponsors? How was that like?
Throughout this process, you eventually tell the sponsor, "You need to meet me in baggage claim at the airport." And in baggage claim, you need to have the ID you provided to the federal field specialist. The sponsor knows to have the ID. If the sponsor doesn't have the ID, they know you cannot hand the child off.
Mm-hmm.
And when they give you the ID, you're supposed to take a picture of the actual physical ID next to the paper copy ID. And a lot of the times, the faces would not match. It would be a total different person.
Wow.
And escorts would still hand the child off, take the pictures, accept the ID.
And
So,
so,
Carlos, are you saying that not you, but people that you work with, handed children to complete strangers that were unvetted, didn't match the ID? Did that happen? That actually happened.
Yeah, so an email went out,
yeah, I
and
remember you sharing that
yeah,
with us. Yeah.
and in the email you have ORR, the Office of Refugee Resettlement, tagged in it. You have MBM McAllen office. You have MBM Pecos office. All these offices in Texas attached to the email, and the subject is in-house issues, and the manager details a lot of issues going on, and in about all these issues, in the middle, like a throwaway subject, is TS, which stands for Transportation Specialist, which is an escort, has been taking the liberty of accepting alternate documents without federal field specialist approval. So each office has about 300 to 400 escorts. Some can have 500, some can have 200. And all these escorts are moving kids in the thousands each week.
So thousands of children handed off
Yeah.
to the wrong people. And so that might explain why today there's at least 85,000 children missing from this program. That would explain why hundreds of children are calling a hotline to say, I'm being abused, neglected, and trafficked.
I don't believe 85,000 is correct. I believe it's a much larger number, because in 2021, when the sites like Pomona were open, the picture taking with the government phone was not implemented when it first started. When it first started, we had papers on us, a clipboard with papers, and we were not taking pictures of an actual ID. It was just hold up the paperwork. When the sponsor's in front of you, is just hold up the paperwork and try to see if they match. And there was no cell phone, there was no government phone, there was no way for us to take picture of the IDs that were being given to us.
When we were seeing these IDs, some of these IDs were false, and we can tell. You don't have to be an expert, but you could tell that these IDs were false. I had a guy telling me, "What do you mean it's not okay? I just paid $200 for it." You know. And
somebody told you that?
yes,
Oh
I
my
just paid
goodness.
$200 for the ID. I can't go get another one.
They're
And
both
it was, I brought that up to, the upper, management team. And I was told we were not there to investigate the sponsor, that we were there to reunify the child to the sponsor. That was one of the things. And then the other thing that we were told were, well, you're not a professional. How would you know? So knowing that you're taking information or documentation that can potentially put this kiddo in harm's way, and you keep telling them and you keep telling them, and nothing is being done. I have
So
children.
frustrating.
It's frustrating. And so it weighs very heavy,
Yes.
very heavy, that you get to sleep with your child, your children. I'm sorry. You get to sleep with your children. And there's parents and moms that can't because their children are not with them. I'm sorry.
So Carlos,
I want to pause it for a second.
good, because I have some notes.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, I played a small video that was an interview with Dr. Phil on the Joe Rogan show, and he was talking to one of the gentlemen that's running the stuff going on with children at the border under this administration. And he said that they no longer do the rapid DNA testing anymore since this new administration took over from the Trump administration. So there was no way to prove whether the people that they were spending the children to had matching DNA or they were related in any way. To me, how convenient is that to make sure that they keep the trafficking wide open so that they're making buku dollars off of all these children that'll never see supposedly will never see any of their real family ever again, that they're basically sold as slaves. That's what they are. They're, in a way, it should be called slave trading, not trafficking, because they're slaves. They're made to do whatever they're supposed to do, and they know if they don't do it, they're going to get beat or they're going to get even worse, starved or any of these other things. And their bodies are used. They're used to sweat and make money for whoever they're sent to, because basically they paid a trafficker a few $100s or more to get a servant, a slave, right?
Yes. So one of the things two things they talked about that I wanted to bring up when you were hearing him talk about the way that they ID. Well, now, and you most likely heard Jason Jones on Dr. Phil, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So actually he was on our space, and that space is pinned to my ex profile. Jason Jones is awesome.
I shared your profile handle in the chat a few times already.
So also, whenever he's talking about how how he was IDing them and they would have the paperwork and they just have to look. Well, now no photo ID is required. We've since heard from Tara wrote us, and I believe Deborah White was in one of the spaces one day with us as well. And they were saying that now literally birth certificates are being given. How are we supposed to know what a true birth certificate is from another country? We don't. We're not police. And here's the thing too. The Department of Health and Human Services, DHS, is not law enforcement. So that is one of the things as well. On the America's Future X profile, they also have a press conference that they did right after the roundtable in Congress. And that's where they presented the say yay to the CRA. So whenever they were talking about that, she was explaining how now it's just a birth certificate possibly. And Myra also said that I wasn't even reading. They're less than that. Yes, absolutely. They're commodities. So Myra had shared a moment ago as well that there was a child that went to a psych ward. Well, they expanded on that story in the press conference as well. And that particular child was one of the boys who had him and his sister were over here. Sister was older. They were recruited now their parents knew they were sending them over here. And the reason they came is because there was a businessman at the time who was promoting getting your children to the United States for a better life on mainstream media in Guatemala. So this brother and sister come over with their parents' blessing because they think they're sending them to a better life, like the man has described. And he picks them up and he does the transporting himself, transports them here. Well, the reason that the boy was in the psych ward, they had to send him because they were figuring out that they were going to a sponsor who was not family. The team we're right here that's talking, right? So, and I believe it was Debbie White and Myra and Tara, I believe. And they're figuring out that something is wrong. And they're holding the children and not wanting them to go to the sponsor. The boy was freaking out because he knew that they were going to harm the sister who had already went. She was already gone. And they were going to harm the parents and knew where they lived if they didn't go to the sponsor. So that's why he was placed in the psych ward.
It's terrible.
Because he knew his parents were going to be hurt and his sister would be hurt if he didn't show up there as well as planned. It's absolutely insane. And everyone who comes through the border, no matter how they come, they pay anywhere. The last numbers I was given I'm quoting what I was told. I want to say it was October 22, so it could be different now. It's possibly more now. That it's according to where you come from, no matter how you got here, because a lot of them do walk and a lot of them don't. But when you are, depending on where you came from, is the amount, and it's anywhere from $4,000 to $30,000. So people,
that's a lot of money when you're from a country like that too.
And you're in debt the rest of your life. You're in debt the rest of your life to cartel.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
Okay, well, I'm going to just go ahead and start again.
Okay.
Based on the email that you just shared with us and the process that you were doing at the airport, it's clear that the government knew that children were not going to the correct people.
Correct. And it's the team lead, the TL, has the final say so. So I had a couple of times where the child was crying, saying, I don't want to go. I don't know this person. I've never seen them in my life. I've never even seen them through FaceTime. And my coworker would say, we have to give them over. It's company policy that we can't bring a child back because the contract can be lost. I'm going to have to report you if you fight me on this. I was just given every excuse under the sun of don't listen to the child.
That's just, it's stunning. It's horrifying. And the government knows. But what's even more stunning is your email was from 2022. Deborah will probably recall The email we received, this is dated July 23 of 2021. This came from HHS headquarters. And because they were concerned about trafficking, which everybody says is not happening, right? They actually started a new email address called UC Migration at acfhhs.gov in 2021. They knew they had a trafficking problem. They knew. And so where are these children? Where are these children? You're being forced to reunify. You're being forced to reunify. And who's being held accountable?
Yeah, Tara, I think the answer to that is absolutely no one is being held accountable, and that is the issue here. I have a letter from the federal field specialist at the site thanking me for my service there, for helping to implement training programs that supported making case managers aware of what trafficking signs look like. However, unfortunately, they did not do their due diligence. We know that.
Yeah.
These are contracts that the taxpayer is paying billions of dollars for, and it is a dismal failure. You could go back to 2011 and you could see multiple household members connected to one sponsor, right? As seen in multiple requests to acquire children, as was the case in Bonita Springs with Antonio and his sister Rebecca. We knew about this. We're doing nothing about this. There's no accountability. And the program continues, and the Congress continues to approve the budget to continue to fund this year after year after year. There have been congressional inquiries that I know of in 2015, 16, 18, and today in 2023. So my question is, why?
I had a lot of kids who would tell me personally, the coyote or the person from the cartel would tell the kid, he told me, I'm going to be placed in a shelter where there's food and toys. The kids knew everything about the facilities before they would even arrive to them. So they knew how it all worked.
Yes.
So it's how in the hell do bad people know how the process is working in the United States? How do you know so much?
Right, because they run them through the system
Mhm.
as, right, many times they are age redeterminations.
Yes.
We had adults, we had a 29-year-old female on our site pretending to be
Be a child.
a child.
And what did they do with her, Tara? They just allowed her to walk
Yeah.
off the site. So they provided us fake documentation. And what happened? What was the consequence? The consequence was she was allowed to walk free out of the door.
Yeah.
And that's not a one-off.
So we were secretly under the radar
Right.
getting training
Yes.
done, right?
Yes.
Right.
We partnered with our friends over at DHS, right? USCIS partners on the site, who we were told in the beginning, don't talk to them. They're
Right.
trying to get the kids deported. Just like you were told, don't talk to us.
Right.
We were told, don't talk to USCIS. They're trying to get the kids deported. And yet they were, you know, one of them was an asylum officer, the site lead. And they're telling us, oh, they're trying to get the kids deported. But then they were the ones who ultimately got us the OTIP training for Office of Trafficking in Persons. And we're slipping, you know, the training in to make sure that people knew. I mean, I had no idea when I deployed for the mission that kids were being trafficked through the site. And they never said kids were being trafficked through the site. We just saw it plain as day. I'm like, hey, if you see anything regarding gangs.
Right.
And then the case manager came to you and said, hey, I have this case about gangs. And you're like, hey, you have to go talk to Tara.
Right. I connected you guys because
Right. And what did we discover? We discovered that there are members of transnational criminal organizations like MS-13, right?
Hollywood Elite.
Yes.
I will never forget that name.
Yeah. So the Hollywood clique of MS-13. Yeah, she was an MS-13 affiliated actor. And the coyote who brought the 22 children was a female smuggler, right? Also related to the gangs. Some of the kids were in the gangs.
Right.
And we said so many times, and it's unbelievable to have to say this, the day I get walked off this site is because we're standing against trafficking of these children. And I said, the day I get walked off this site, it's going to be because of trafficking. And that's exactly what happened.
And I remember that night because I came into the facility and I didn't see you. It was very somber to see you there.
Yeah.
Because we were working together as a team to help these kids. It wasn't the same. And then shortly after they closed it down. But not seeing you there was,
Yeah.
it was a low blow.
Yeah. Well, and we had built trust relationships, right?
Exactly.
With a lot of people.
I think that the eye opener for a lot of the case managers to get that trust with you guys was when you came on the mic and, you know, it was like 500 of us, you know, maybe more. And it just went silent. And you said,
Pull up this address.
Pull up this address. And then all of a sudden you hear, you know, that's when we knew, okay, they're actually here to help. They're not here to deport like we were being told.
Right. Well,
they're
tell
here
them
to
what
help.
we found, Myra.
You know,
what did we find?
it
When I told them
it was a gentleman's club, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
where children were being sent, you know, and to trailers behind the club.
Mm-hmm. Right. Again, they knew. They know now. They knew then.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still not doing anything.
Right. We're here today. We know there's missing children. They're unaccounted for. And we're still asking the question 2 years later, where are the children and what have you done to locate them?
Yeah.
We don't have an answer to that question.
Yeah.
The answer that we've seen, at least, you know, on TV, is that our authority ends when we hand off the child in the transportation process.
Yeah. And I used to have hope that at least if we could compel HHS to turn over the names and the addresses of the sponsors, that we could find the children. But now I'm learning that they're turning the children over to not even the person who was supposed to be the sponsor in baggage claim at an airport.
Right. And we have had sponsors call back and say, you know, if we did get a hold of them during the 30-day calls, I don't have the kid anymore. I was just paid to pick him up from the airport.
Right.
I took him somewhere else.
Right.
And a lot of times the sponsors would back out last minute too. They would say, you keep the kid. And what would happen there was we would call it in and it would be don't bring the kid back. If you bring the kid back, you're going to be in trouble and you're going to get fired. They would say, give us 20 minutes, we'll call you back. And 20 minutes would turn into an hour or two, sometimes even longer than that. And then when we would finally get a call back, we would get an address to pretty much a homeless shelter, what it looked like. And it'd be like, the kid is approved to go there, go drop him off.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
And that happened to me a couple of times.
Another thing I want to say is the fact that I don't see how, even though we have all this evidence and this proof about what was going on with all these children, and we have a lot of evidence for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of children, but I don't see how we're going to get it down, narrow it down to who's responsible, because everybody was passing the buck the whole time, that you're going to have everybody pointing at each other. And how are you going to get a group of people to say, well, these certain people should be punished? Well, how do you punish them? You know, because they'll go to court and say, well, you know, I only did this because I was told to by this person. And then they'll say the same thing and the same thing and same thing over and over again. So we have to go all the way to the top. You know what I mean? Somehow we have to get to the very top and start from the top down and punish people.
Absolutely.
By using the people at the bottom to testify against everyone. And they have all the paperwork. Yeah, it's going to be a pain in the ass to get all the paperwork together to be able to take these people and hold them accountable. And I'm not talking about giving them a fine, like $1,000 a kid or whatever else, because some of these kids are never going to be found. They're probably dead. They're probably in another country. They might have died of drug overdoses. Like I told you about the children in those brothels, they kept them drugged up all the time and them basically begging for you to kill them.
Yes.
At 7 years old, wanting to die because they didn't want to live this way anymore, being raped 5 times a day, beaten, starved. It's a horrible existence for a lot of these children. And even the ones that are made to work all day long and then hardly fed and not allowed to have a life as a kid, be able to play with toys and read books and go to the movies, do what kids normally would do. None of these kids get that because these are property. These are not humans. They don't treat them as human beings. And we have families in this country that would do anything to be able to have a child because they can't have children, but the adoption agencies is so expensive and it's so much paperwork to adopt a child. And then here we have all these kids being handed over to total strangers, some of them multiple children.
Well, yeah, and when you adopt, Janet, they do home studies.
Mm-hmm.
They check you out from head to toe. They want to know everything about you and what you've done in the past and what your future looks like for you, like all of it. It's easier for us to sponsor a child than it is to adopt a cat at the shelter, and it's very sad.
I know, and that's heartbreaking to me. All of this, watching all this and seeing that there's so much evidence, you get so many people that are willing to tell their stories, yet we can't tell them, well, these people are going to be punished.
No.
Especially if we do not win in November, this will never end. This will never end with the people that we have right now in charge. I honestly believe in my heart, this will never end. It will just get worse.
Even if we close the border today, we have years of cleaning up. We have years of targeting and breaking up the networks. The networks are so intertwined, and the groups of cartel are starting to work with each other, work against each other. The main thing for all of them, they have one basic reason, and it's to make money.
Yeah, and the thing is, even if you spend the next 25 years capturing and rounding up these people, we have to show them that this is what happens to you if we catch you. They have to have some type of deterrent. Not let them make any money, take all their money from them, every single dime. I don't care if it has anything to do with trafficking or not. If that person has money, whether they earned it from trafficking or not, all their money should be taken. Because
it should go to the victims. It should go to the survivors of their trauma.
The survivors for their health purposes, to help them reestablish into the world again. All those things.
Absolutely, because these children, these people. Let's not just focus on children now. Everyone, right? All of the survivors. They're going to have trauma the rest of their life. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to. I don't know, but I've heard that it can be compared to coming out of prison. Same thing, you're not used to the free world. You're used to living a certain way. These people who are trafficked, they are used to being taken care of by that person that says they love them. They're coerced with, like we were saying, the drugs earlier, with fear, like I was talking about with the child that went to the psych ward, all the things. And so when we're in a society where we must insist that the victims have to name and get on the stand and be re-traumatized by saying what happened to them in front of the person who did it, that's not okay. That is part of the reason that it is the way it is. That's part of the reason that people don't get turned in, because victims are scared to talk. They are beaten to manipulate. They're manipulated. They're coerced. They're all the things.
Yeah, just like this young man right here.
Yes.
On screen is talking about. They're threatened, basically. If you send the kid back, or if this happens or that happens, you won't have a job. And then they're thinking, well, what's going to happen to me now and my family that I'm with if I don't follow through. It's the same thing with, a lot of the things that the government's been doing with forcing people to get the jab, or if they speak out about the jab, or if they don't do this or they don't do that, the government's going to force them out or take their livelihood away. It's coercion. They're forcing them into something against their will, even though they're complying. Okay, it's because they feel like they have no other options.
Right. Well,
So,
thank the good Lord that Aaron Stevenson decided to be a whistleblower, and which influenced Tara Rodas to come forward. And here we have it. And she influenced this entire team right here. So
I know, and I think it's wonderful. But the thing is, it's sad that we have to share these kind of videos. But the only way to inform us, the people who don't know anything about it, is to have people to please share the videos, watch these videos, listen to what these stories tell you. So when you hear another person speaking about it, you understand it's facts. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is truth.
correct.
And we really need more
This
people.
is the reason. This is why we need y'all to contact your senators and your House of Representatives, because we need the program he is describing put under a very sharp microscope.
Yep.
And we need reviews of everything, because if not, it's just going to get worse.
Yep. And the thing is, we want the people who started all of this and set it up and is somehow making money off of it, because that's what the whole thing boils down to. And we want them to be punished for this, because thousands and thousands and thousands of children, now adults, some of them, are the ones that suffered through all this, and they deserve to have their stories told and somebody be held accountable for it.
They do.
Chris, don't bring him back. Don't do it, because you're gonna be let go. Because you already know that once we take the child out of their camp where they're at, their shelter, we're not supposed to bring him back.
So Carlos, it's really, astounding all that you've shared with all the different contractors and like MVM and the other NGOs. That's exactly what we found with Cherokee. And then, recently we find out that someone from within the US government left the government, Andrew Lorenzen Strait, to get the Cherokee federal contract the Washington way.
Because I got this contract, but in a very Washington way.
And as we can see, it's not going so well. So this is absolutely unacceptable. And for all of the billions of dollars the government spending, it's just horror after horror, and the children are gone.
I really just quite simply, Tara, since there was so much finger pointing between the government and the contractor saying, well, we're not getting the information we need from the government, so it's very hard for us to do our jobs on the Cherokee side. And then from the government side, they were like, Cherokee is failing all over the place. Literally, like those words, okay, like came from the federal field specialist.
Right.
Why would we pay a contractor if they're not fulfilling the requirements of the contract? Again, I never got access to the contract as many times as I'd asked for it. So what I can say is I know that there were sole source contracting efforts made to ensure that Cherokee Federal was the contractor of choice on the site. What I can say is that Southwest Keys and MVM, so Southwest Keys and MVM were also subcontractors and sole sourced. HHS has been sole sourcing this contract for this type of work, emergency intake shelters, for years and years.
Exactly.
And to date, they have not answered. The contractors have not answered. The government has not answered for why these sole source contracts are necessary. So again, there are companies out there that can do the same type of work, probably do it a lot better, yet the government continues to sole source these contracts to contractors that are failing at the site, and we've witnessed it. Southwest Keys was in the news because one of their employees sexually assaulted 3 children on an airplane. So I would define that as absolute failure.
And 85,000 children gone. That's failure.
And you would think, my email that I received from MBM was last year saying, hey, we messed up. We gave children to the wrong people. You would think they would have lost the contract, but here they are a year later, still moving kids. After I was done escorting the kids, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. My conscience can't take it. I got a call saying, hey, they're going to open up the very first hotel in New York City, and it's going to hold 5,000 people, and it's 28 floors up. So someone like me who got thrown into the fire now got handed a hotel with 5,000 migrants, and it's the Row NYC, a block away from Times Square. And so come to find out, when uh, the people who were really in charge was a company named Go. New York City hired Health and Hospitals. Health and Hospital hired a company called Herc. A company called Herc hired a company called SLS Health. A company called SLS Health hired another company called Favored Healthcare Staffing. And Favored Healthcare Staffing is who was on my paycheck stubs. I'm sitting there with, this is what's going to happen, but I would have to make a phone call to other people above me who weren't even at the hotel. So say a husband just finished beating up his wife. I would have to call them and say, hey, what do you want to do? And they would call Go and say, hey, what do you want to do? And then they would get back to me and, hey, Carlos, I know this guy just finished beating his wife up, but you can't call NYPD. You have to handle it in-house because the guy was drunk. Just let him sober up. Let him make up with his wife. It's all going to be good. Don't call NYPD. So I would sit in meetings every day where it was me representing the people who employed me, and it was always, take them to Go. Go will handle it. Don't call NYPD. And the worst part about this hotel was there was rapes that happened, and the only solution was send them to Go, and it ends there.
Wow.
Don't call NYPD. Don't call NYPD.
So hundreds of millions of dollars of contracts
just in one hotel.
In one location.
Yeah.
And no one is involving law enforcement because you're not allowed.
I was there for months. I never called ICE. I never called NYPD. I never called no one, no agency, no one.
So you're saying protocol was to allow violence and rape?
Yeah, handle it in-house.
Yep.
Handle it in-house, because if we start telling other agencies what's going on, the contract's going to be lost.
It's all about the money.
Protect the contract.
Protect the contract at all costs.
Yeah.
Well, as we work together, to continue to speak out and save the kids, I really hope that others are going to join us in this fight, because all these children are here and we do not know where they are.
We cannot continue to fund a program that has failed over and over again, year after year. How many times does this have to go before Congress? How many times does the Inspector General have to do a report before something is done? So this is really, for me, the call to action here is to the Congress. You hold the purse strings. Hold them back if a program is failing. Do not continue to use my taxpayer dollars and everyone else's taxpayer dollars to fund a failed program.
And the more I think about it is, you've had Mayorkas, you had the ORR director, you've had all these people who had to testify in DC. And a lot of the times when they get asked questions, they say, I don't know, I don't have that number. But I honestly believe part of the reason why they say they don't know is because they really don't know. Because the people in charge are the NGOs, pretty much. It's time that NGOs are held accountable. I would like to see the CEO of Southwest Keys, Deployed Resources, Endeavors, Cherokee. There's a lot of these companies out there who are accepting contracts worth millions
Right.
And I think it's time.
You know, Carlos, that is a great suggestion. There's nothing better than transparency and accountability. And you're right, there is no accountability. And I think that's what we all want to see. Transparency and accountability for the children and for the hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars that are funding child trafficking.
Yeah. And it's not acceptable that our government can say, I don't know, and not have to answer the question. That's not acceptable.
No, exactly.
If we're the ones that are signing the contracts and authorizing billions of dollars to be released for a service on a program, then those services better be rendered in accordance with the contract before we pay that bill.
Yes.
And if they don't know how to answer that question, then they don't deserve the position that they're in.
Agreed. So this has been a really tough thing to talk about, but I thank you all for stepping forward to speak the truth, stepping out of the shadows. Myra Moreno, Deborah White, Carlos Oriano, you all are heroes. And I thank you for standing up. And America's Future thanks you for standing up for the children, for shining a light into this darkness. And with your help, I believe we're going to be able to give hope. We are going to create hope and be that voice for the children that they need. So I thank you. You've come thousands of miles to be here, to join me in the great state of Virginia, in the beautiful Shenandoah Valley. You are making a difference. So I thank you so much for your time.
Yay. Well, it's sad that we have to watch that, but
there are heroes.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's a great website that you have for Stop the Shame and Protect the Children. So I'm going to share the link again in the chat. So anyone who wants to go there, click on your state and get a hold of your people in office and tell them we want something done in our state, in the state that you're in. Please do something and vote to stop the money. Because if you and I, the taxpayer, stop the funding, it stops. Okay. If they're not going to make money off of it, they're not going to do it.
So, it will, as far as that goes, but we're still going to have a huge problem, which is why Shepherd's Watch Foundation is so needed. We have a lot to do. We're only one of 5 teams that are in Texas fighting sex trafficking as boots on the ground. And then no one like we do it. So, considering that now I believe we're at 6 private investigators in-house to handle over 30 million people before all the invasion started. So there's millions more people now. And, it comes back to the fact, too, that we have to shut the border down. The children that are coming through the border, no one knows who they are. Now, granted, they know who they are in that system, but no one has access to that, Janet. No one has access to that. No one knows who these children are, where they went. Deborah White was asked, could you not get that information? Well, no one has access to that. And especially the whistleblowers, they're not going to have access now to anything like that, right? Now, however, if I'm not mistaken, Tara's still working for them. She wasn't fired. They just move them. But we have to do something for these kids. We have to.
The thing is, as we saw the last few days where they're doing the investigation into the shooting, right, for Trump.
Yes.
And they had the Secret Service, people in charge, and they had Chris Wray up there, and they were for the FBI, and they were being asked questions, and they basically were vague and gave as little as possible, just like they were saying about the people in charge over them. Okay, they're very vague. They don't want to give any answers. Nobody wants the finger pointed at them. Like my mom always said, when you're pointing the finger at someone, how many fingers are pointing back at you? Okay, so what us have to do is hold the people in Congress accountable by sending them these emails and telling them we want this stopped. force them to do the job. That's what our tax dollars is paying for them for, is to make sure that when they set up something to do something with our money, they're supposed to follow through on whatever they're doing. And if they can't even tell you where any of these kids are, or how to get a hold of them, or who's doing what, then why are they still taking money? See that,
and
they should.
that's just a small part of it. We have so much trafficking going on within the states, on the interior, and that's what we focus on. We don't even go to the border. That's not our thing. That's not our niche. We focus on interior, and I tell you that all of your children interior with your domestic cases will be affected by the way we treat this program. And I want to point out that, everyone that just sat here and watched those whistleblowers, they explained to you why we need everyone to call. That is the program that we are asking them to review. So that was the best explanation of why we need their help in that. But again, that's only one part of it. We work the interior side, and we're looking at networks that buy $1 million homes and gated communities with cash. People that in their neighbors with people that, unfortunately, they don't believe anything like that would happen in their neighborhood. And it's happening right underneath their nose.
Yeah.
I saw Danny made a comment, a minute ago about people not knowing. They don't know until they hear someone talking about it. And then for me, they have a responsibility to speak up at that point. Once you know, and that is why I talk so much. Hey, Jamie, and I saw Jeremiah's down there too. Once you know, you have a responsibility. A responsibility to educate everyone you know about it that will listen. And you have a responsibility to go to your legislators that are local and find out what's happening. Find out how they're standing up against it. And yeah, it'll definitely start November 6th. But I'm concerned with not getting there. Someone has said that before, and I'm concerned with not even getting to November. And that was something that you just put up that Jeremiah said that's new. The DOJ did just open that case to sue Southwest Keys. Now, if you want to hear more about the Southwest Keys and all the NGOs that he describes that him and 17th COG have done the Substack and the research on, we're actually going to be in space tomorrow night digging on just that, on the NGOs and the trafficking. But again, I urge everyone to remember that this is only a small portion of the trafficking. The border is only a small portion of it. We have to educate and turn in the pedophiles next door. We have to educate our friends. We have to educate our family, and we don't sweep shit under the rug. Okay. And when we see actions of someone that is not the way it should be, we must call them out on it. That is our problem. You've shared a little bit with us before on the last one that I was on with things that have happened that you've dealt with. And I got to say that calling people on the pedophilia must happen. It must happen. It has to happen, because we can shut the border down all day long, but that's not going to stop the trafficking within the familial trafficking and the people, the kids that are
because you have to capture, you have to arrest the people that are selling the kids, the people that are taking the kids, the people that are buying the children, the people that are renting the children, everybody, the whole realm of people that are involved with it. One child, they should all be in prison. All of them. Okay. We put one person in jail in my family, and now my whole family is split in half over it, because some believed him and some believed the little girl. Okay. So it splits it up. And even though the DA said, hey, we have all this evidence, we could put him in prison right now for 60 years because we have the evidence. But he pled out for 20. And in 5 years, she has to go back to court and beg them not to let him out. Which is against the victim, not the person that committed the crime. You see what I mean? That's where the balance also needs to be worked on, is making the people have to stay in jail and do their time. No matter what.
It's
It
really
shouldn't
hard.
happen
I'm
to
biting my tongue off.
children. Just think about all those kids having to come back every 3-4 years or whatever their state has and testify against that person just to keep them in prison for what the jury said they should get. You see,
The victim
there's so many
have to
things that
do
we
that
need to
one
work on in every state.
Yeah.
So as long as we can do that and do what we're doing right now, just sharing information, getting more people to understand what goes into it, and it just from you catching the child and getting it back, it starts a whole new other story for that child and what rules need to be followed and who to punish. Okay, on top of that, and then being able to fund the people that are doing what you guys are doing, and fund the people that are trying to capture the ones who are doing the trafficking. See, there's just so many different fingers out there that we have to cut all of them off to be able to stop it. And that's the hardest part. And to get more people involved in paying attention so that we can maybe stop it before it even starts.
Yes.
See, there's so many avenues to do.
Knowing what to look for. And I will, once we're out of here, go back and put that in your chat on YouTube and the other places on what to look for, what to do. I didn't have time to send it to you, but that is very important. We must know what to look for, because I find a lot of people find out once they're in our space talking, when we're talking about it, or they look at the flyer that we've made on what to look for, then they realize what they saw, but they didn't realize it before.
But now they do.
Yeah.
The sad fact is that they didn't know before, but the good thing is they do now. And this time, when they see it, they will be able to do something about it. See, each person whose eyes are opened up to something they didn't know was right in front of them, they're awake now. Okay.
Yes.
And they will share it with someone else, and they will share it with someone else, and it's go on and on and on. But each day, more people know about it, the more children are going to be safe because of it. Now, we still have to keep fighting. There's millions and millions of them. So it's going to take millions of us to be able to stop them from doing what they're doing. But I wanted to bring up your whole thing about your comedy showcase fundraiser.
Yes.
So I'm going to bring that up, and I want everybody to see it, and I want you to talk about it.
Okay.
Here we go.
Awesome. We're so excited for this event. So this is our first big fundraiser that we've ever done. So real quick, because I know it said what we do, but we were founded in 2020 by our president and our lead investigator now. And when they founded Shepherd's Watch, they stayed quiet for 2 years. So we had to figure out, she had to, figure out who they could talk to and turn things over to. Everyone is vetted that we talk to, including law enforcement. That's most important because of what we've seen right here on that video. And so we are doing a fundraiser now that we're out in the open. We've been out in the media now for 2 years, and we're doing a comedy showcase fundraiser that is we're super excited about this. So it's in Dallas, first of all. Actually, Adkins, I believe, is the name. I'm not in that area. I believe the name is Adkins, actually, the little area around Dallas. And we're going to do this at TK's Comedy. And it's a nice place. It's really cool. I've seen the pictures. I haven't been again because I'm not in that area. And we are going to have, this is going to be the first fundraiser for Shepherd's Watch that's public. A lot of times we do it smaller events, but we've never done it like this. So we are going to have Angela Owen, who is a Dallas favorite comedy. I've watched a couple things she's done already. I'm super excited to see her. Just looking at her picture makes you want to laugh because she looks good,
So put a smile on your face. Well, I just shared the link for this.
Awesome.
In the chat. So anyone, please copy it, paste it, and share it on your timeline on whatever Facebook, X, anything that you're on. Please share it with others so we can try to spread the word.
And we do have we have a Shepherd's Watch Foundation on Facebook business page, so you can find it there and share it on Facebook. And we've got it on X. She gave you all the handle there. One of the other things right now, so the tickets are not going on sale until tomorrow for public, but you can go ahead and get the corporate sponsorships now. So we've already got 3 corporate sponsorships. Super excited about those because one of the things you get as well that you can add to, we have a VIP experience, which I've met this girl and she's so cool. Her name is Jessica Wolverton, and she was on America's The Voice and American Idol.
Okay.
American Idol, America's Got Talent, but The Voice as well. I'm excited for that. That's going to be a little VIP experience you can add to your ticket and see her in the speakeasy. They have a speakeasy downstairs. That's where she's going to be with the VIP. And so it's going to be a whole lot of fun. We have a couple different campaigns that we need this fundraiser for. So one of our most important things, and please do share this out. Like she said, share it on Facebook, share it on X. Anyone in Dallas can definitely buy a ticket. You can actually buy the ticket and donate it back. You can do donate only.
You can buy tickets and send them to people.
Yes.
Like if you have friends or relatives in the surrounding area and you think that they would enjoy this wonderful experience, and to let them know what the fundraiser is for and that I just bought tickets for you to attend, that's always good. Pay it forward to someone else if you can. Like what we did when we did the movie for The Sound of Freedom.
Yes.
I bought tickets, and I bought 2 tickets for whoever else wanted to see it.
Forward. Yes.
Yeah,
I love that. So we're also going to have a live stream option. So you will be able to buy a ticket for the live stream option as well for our friends who are remote. So we're really excited about it.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. We're also, and I'll show you all the t-shirts in a minute, but the 2 campaigns that this is going to fund. Okay. So I've already told you, I keep wanting to say we, because I'm used to talking with the team when I'm talking about us.
Yeah.
So whenever we do the intel and the investigative intelligence side, we have a technology toolkit. And I can't share much about it, but what I can tell you is that it makes things a lot quicker than they used to be without this in our hands. So again, we're only 1 of 5 in Texas, right? But we're actually we are the only organization, I'm trying to word it right so I don't misquote. We are the only organization that fights trafficking that has this toolkit. And what this does in a nutshell is it takes down the time that law enforcement has to do their surveillance. And it gives us everything we need to wrap it up in a pretty little bow now, don't get me wrong. Our private investigators do still have to do their undercover work. There's a lot of counter intelligence that works against us, right? Because we are doing the work. So we have to pay attention to that as well. And the Intel Toolkit it helps us a lot. That is one of our main things. When someone donates to Shepherd's Watch Foundation, unless they specify, that's what their donations go to. We are very transparent. We pay $5,000 a month for this technology. We have to keep it in order to help everyone quicker. Do we have to have it? No, but I tell you what, we're already behind. We're already very behind. Again, we're only 1 of 5, and we're the only ones working the way we do. We're extremely behind what has been happening. And as soon as we get rid of 1 case, as our lead investigator tells everyone else, we have 30 waiting. So we don't have time to waste. And this is something that helps everyone. Yes, it starts in Texas with us, but it branches out to multiple states, multiple major cities, multiple counties. I mean, you have girls that are being flown all over the United States to your baseball, right? Your big baseball games, your basketball games, your football games. Super Bowl, one of the largest trafficking events there is in the United States. So we need to keep this technology toolkit so that we can continue assisting humanity as we do. So that's where most of the donations go. However, if you make a donation and you write that you want it to go to the education fundraiser, we have been approached to please hit the lock button, whatever that means. I don't know one of the comments.
I think she meant like. It's okay.
Oh, I'm trying to read and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
She's one of my wrenches.
My wrench, I am too.
But yeah, go ahead and do it if you get you want to hit it. I'd appreciate it.
So where was I at? Long story short, we have also been approached by many schools already in the past and parents who say, how do you get your education into schools? Because we also educate. So we go out, we spend our own money, we do events. The board members, most of it is our president and myself. I will go out in the southern part of Texas and do the events. Our president will do the ones up top in Texas and over in East Texas. And we will educate. Now, it takes days, literally days, just to educate one grade in one school.
Mm-hmm.
But if we had a podcast that we had, which we've already found the people to do it, they are professionals. They do this, that it is their business. They put together education podcast for the children. My cat's trying to get in the room. For school-age children so that we can tell them what to look for. Now, why is that so important? Because we have recruiters in our middle schools and high schools. Why is that important? Because your child may walk home from school and they don't know what they're looking at whenever someone is approaching and acting a certain way. Or a car is lingering and they may think it's okay because, Mom, it's my new friend's perfect example. It's my new friend's parents. It's okay. It's my new friend. What do you know about these new friends' parents? Because these new friends sometimes are being used by their own parents to groom your child, to get your child to come over to their house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that happens a lot. And there's a lot of familial trafficking going on. So these types of things that I'm sharing with you will be shared with the children. And it's going to be 3 sections. There's going to be for parents, for educators, and for kids. So, and it will be approached in a way that I'm probably not knowing the specifics. I'm going to say probably primary would be 1, and maybe the older, maybe 8th grade and above, into high school would be another podcast or version of it for the students, because it is going to be a different level. But we want to go to all of them. Yes, we're going to have parents' permission. That's fine. But the parents are also going to get it too, right? So they may think that it's going to be too much for their kid, but once they see what we show them and show them why this is needed to educate their kids, they're going to want us to have this. And so that's one of the things you can do as well. And before I forget, there's
you want to show your shirt?
I will, but before I forget, if someone wants to donate now, there's 2 ways they can do it on their phone. They don't even have to go to our website. They can text the word Shepherds, which is spelled wrong on the ticker, so don't look at that one. Look at the one up there. No, it's okay. But it's Shepherds, SHEPHERDS.
Okay.
You can text Shepherds to 53555, and that goes to our general donations, which would be our toolkit. Okay. If you want to donate to the education podcast, then you would text, and I'm going to spell it. We couldn't figure out another word that wasn't taken, so we're going to try to make it easier. But for now, it's sex traf ed. So it's SEXTRAFFED. And that would go directly to the education podcast donations. And then you don't even have to go to our website. But of course, the website is on there. Now, let me show you the shirts. We have 2 types of shirts that I have them in-house. I do have, our president has a few, but I have most of them. So what I'm wanting you to do is either direct message myself. If you don't know and don't see my handles, I see them over there. But if you can't find it, just message Janet. She'll let you know where to find me.
And I'm sharing your email right now for for Brandi.
Yes,
right now
you can email me or DM me.
Mm-hmm.
And it has our logo. So we have V-necks for women, and then we have regular necks.
For whoever wants us. Yeah, those are nice.
Let me figure this out now. Where's my camera? Ah!
The other side. The other hand. The other hand. There you go. Up a little. There you perfect. Beautiful. Shepherd's Watch.
So that's on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the back, I don't know that you're going to be able to read it well.
Yeah, you can. I can see it. It says watching over our communities. Very nice. And then
our website, and the bottom says to end sex trafficking. Man, that is so weird to keep it like that.
But it looks great. And the shirt you're wearing right now is nice too. I really love it.
But they can't buy these. These are only for board members. But I know.
Still nice.
I'll tell you what, they're nice, but I won't lie. I'm sweating my butt off right now. They're so thick.
Yeah.
We do events and we have to get some more of these because you just can't function in these things. They don't breathe.
Well, I just like the white with the black and white emblem over the top. I think it's very, very nice.
And then
definitely won't forget that.
So those V-necks were the navy blue.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing on the front and the back, but it's the regular neck, and they're so soft. I actually
they look soft.
I have two of them. Says the same thing though.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Very nice.
These are 20, and then the V-necks are 25.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in getting a supporting Shepherd's Watch, just purchase one of these T-shirts, and you can send Brandi a message on Twitter. I'm going to share her.
Or they can email me
again, or they can email you. I put that already in there too. Okay. So either way, if you want to support Shepherd's Watch, she would really, really appreciate it, and all of us would. We would really appreciate any support that you can get, and if you just share it with other people, so that they get the opportunity to see it.
Well, and I wanted to say that too, Janet. Right? Sharing, helping us out doesn't always mean it has to be monetary. Mm-hmm. You can go to our website. Share it with other people, tell them who we are, tell them we're even here, right? Mm-hmm. So many people don't even know we're even a thing still. So that's why I try to speak in as many spaces as I can so that people know that we are around, we are here, and we need to get out and educate more. So we need help with that education fundraiser. We need people. If you're in Texas, hit me up. If you have a group of people, we will come to you and we will educate the group of people. We have Save Our Children town halls all over Texas, and we have a board member in each region pretty much of Texas. So we can handle it. And if they're not in Texas, we do remote training, education. We need to educate everyone.
Yeah. Now, it never hurts to learn something new.
No, and the education fundraiser will start in Texas for the school age children, but our plan is to go all over the United States with it. If a school district will allow it, they're getting it. Private schools, all of them.
Awesome. Yeah. And this is in Texas, though, right?
Well, yeah, Texas first, then we want to go all over the U.S. If you have a school that already is welcome to it, connect us. Yes, let's get it in the school.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. So there's another reason why you can follow Brandi and send her information, or just go into some of her spaces that she runs, and you can keep updated on all the newest things that they're doing and who to get a hold of. But I want to present this next story because I think it's nice to see when the bad guys get what they deserve. I like to have at least one of those on the show. And we wanted to talk about this. It's a deputy's father. Father shoots rideshare driver caught raping his daughter in Washington. So it's Washington State, right?
Yes, Washington State, and it has been said this is an illegal alien.
So you think I should play the video?
It should be short, yeah, but we definitely want to talk about the 200 as well. We got to have some good news.
Which say the father and the family were able to stop this sexual assault by attacking the Uber driver.
58-year-old Ahmed Ali, an Uber driver accused of a heinous crime.
Where they're asking that the court find probable cause for rape in the second degree and kidnapping in the first degree.
Probable cause documents I obtained say Ali picked up a woman from a bar who was too intoxicated to get home herself. The victim relying on Ali's service as a rideshare driver to get back safely. Instead, documents say Ali used his Uber app to make it seem like he dropped the victim off, then drove here to this secluded location outside of Olympia and raped the victim.
She is fearful if he is released, or expressed that she would be fearful if he is released.
The probable cause documents say the family of the victim got worried when the woman did not return home. The father, using his phone, tracked his daughter's location to the scene of the assault and found the victim naked in the back seat of Ali's car, with Ali scrambling back to the front seat, trying to pull his pants up.
There is a substantial danger that the defendant will commit a new violent crime, and this is based on the nature of these allegations.
Documents say the victim's family beat up Ali, and at least 2 shots were fired. Investigators say Ali tried to flee the scene, despite medics saying he needed help. In court, Ali still had bandages on his hands. Near the scene of the attack, I spoke to a dad who told me it's horrifying to hear what happened to someone else's daughter on Father's Day weekend.
You know, to me, it's justice, and it should have never happened to begin with, right? That it's just disgusting, but I'm glad the dad was able to be there.
The suspect is a father himself of 5 children. The courtroom was packed with family and neighbors in support of Ali. Investigators say Ali's daughter actually reported her father missing to police on the day he's accused of raping someone else's child.
A judge found probable cause for both of those crimes. They now have about 3 days to file official charges. In the meantime, Ali is held on a $100,000 bond. You can count on continued coverage as we learn more in this case. Reporting here in Olympia, I'm AJ Janivel, Fox 13 News.
Well, I'm glad that they caught this guy. And the thing is, ever since Uber first started, I tell everyone I would never use any service, because what stops them from being able to hurt others? You know what I mean?
So I actually found out about this story from our president right before I came on here. And the reason, and what she showed me now, is that she was actually stopped in the Uber trying to get out of the airport parking lot, and the Uber was stopped for too long. We're assuming, and because of that, now they send you something that says, "Ride check. Your ride's been stopped for a while. Please let us know if everything is okay." And it gives you the options to check, "I'm okay, thanks," or "get help."
But what if you're
that.
not allowed to get to your phone? What happens then?
Well, there's not always this, there's not always that option, but I mean, there's
I know,
that.
but
There's
what
that door you can always go
I
for.
tell
it.
people, do not do it. Just don't do it, because I just thought, like what he said. He wrote that he dropped off the lady, so he could be a serial killer or whatever, and pick somebody up, take them who knows where, lock them up, sell them, whatever.
That's why you should share the ride. You shouldn't do it alone.
Yeah, I would never do it. But the fact that she tried to do the right thing and not drink and drive, and that's how she gets repaid for it, because she gets taken advantage of, because this guy's a disgusting piece of shit. Excuse my language, but I'm sorry. More and more of this stuff comes out, the less I trust any of this stuff. And, I feel sorry, because I have friends that do Uber Eats and do all the different stuff and take the food and drive it to people and stuff like that. See, I wouldn't even do that. I don't trust somebody
you're going
to pick up my food and to bring it to my house and know where I live.
We just heard, right? We just heard about the sponsors who are sexual predators, who are sex offenders on the registry. You don't know now who you're going to. When you go anywhere, when you're by yourself, you just always have to keep your head on a swivel, looking out for yourself and those around you.
Yeah, until we start seeing stuff in the news showing some of these people being held accountable, I'm just not going to trust anybody. I can't help it. I don't mean to be a paranoid person, but it just takes me a lot to earn trust for myself, to make me feel safe to be around people, or to even let them know where Like when my tire, I had that blowout on my tires. I had 2 tires blow out, and I got a hold of my insurance company, and they said they're going to send me someone. And I said, well, you know, who are they? You know, how do I know who's the right person? Just because they show up with a tow truck. And they said, we'll send you a photo of the driver. And I said, okay. Now, then I felt a little safer. And when I saw that the driver was the person that my insurance company sent me a message saying it was, then I felt comfortable. So there's lots of things that they need to start looking into if they're going to do something like that with having people, just total strangers in their own vehicle, picking people up and taking them wherever. You know, it's scary to me. But then the next thing I have that I would like to share that you said you wanted to talk about.
It's so awesome. We have to see that other people are doing the work too.
I think this is the one. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Awesomeness. See it?
So over 200 missing children across the nation were found that were missing during Operation We Will Find You Too. I can't help but just smile from ear to ear, even thinking about that.
Yeah, it says that the U.S. Marshal Service, along with federal, state, and local agencies in 7 federal judicial districts and geographical locations across the United States, led a 6-week national operation that resulted in finding 200 critically missing children, which includes endangered, runaways, and those abducted by non-custodial persons. So we just wanted to share that because that's really, really good news. The fact that, but the thing is, this should be on news all the time. I mean, you should hear people talking about 200 children being saved. I haven't heard anything about it until you mentioned it.
Yeah, you don't hear about it. You don't hear about it. You know,
I'm going to share this link in the chat.
You hear so much on X that no one hears if they're not on X. Like not even on YouTube. You know, or I we could go on about that, but
YouTube isn't one to me. I don't see them pushing things like this. Okay, they'd rather other things be on there.
I can tell you that if we can find one missing child, it was all worth it. If you can help turn over the evidence to break up one network that, you know, I can say right now that something that we have been involved in here recently has over 50 girls in it. And let's go back to what I was talking about, the mansions, right? The $1 million homes. People have to start getting involved. Okay, Texas, I know that as Texans, here comes Brandi, we were told to keep our nose on our face and it's not your business and to don't bother with your neighbors. No, that's not how you act in 2024. You do not. Because you never know who your neighbors are. You have to. We would rather you wonder that when you see something that you don't know what you're looking at, but you think it needs, if you think there's a 911 going on, whatever the case may be, this child might be in danger, this woman or this man.
Yeah.
I mean, there's really the Johnny Depps of the world. Let's be honest, right? So when you do see something, we need you to make that phone call. See something, say something. We would rather you be wrong and you inconvenience someone for 10 minutes, getting them pulled over to make sure everything's okay, or 30 minutes, versus you going home and laying your head down at night and wondering, I wonder what was going on there.
Yeah, wasn't that that there was a video I saw on X, and it was a white van, and somebody was videoing following it, and they saw a hand keep coming out from underneath it, and they called the police saying that they thought it was a van full of trafficked people. And they followed the van for quite a while, I remember. And then finally the police pulled them over, and it ended up being some families that were moving. It wasn't trafficked kids or anything, but it was families that were moving, and they had some of the kids in the back with some of the things they had. They were moving.
Adults too. There were adults
and adults.
Well.
But the thing is, it didn't matter that it wasn't. No. It was the fact that somebody cared enough to
Yep.
make the phone call and find out. Now, what they were doing was illegal anyways. They shouldn't have had people just flopping around in the back of a big
Right.
truck. Okay. But the fact that these people called gave me hope that people are starting to pay attention, that people are starting to see things that are, hey, that just looks not right. And I'm calling. And they stayed behind the vehicle until the cops came. That even made me feel even better.
Yes.
Because
And if you can do that at a safe distance, we want you to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at a safe distance. If you can do it undetected, if they're not, don't get on them, don't honk your horn, do not intervene, get at a safe distance, take a picture. Preferably if they're in a vehicle, we want you to take a picture of the front or the back of the vehicle with the license plate.
Mm-hmm.
That way we at least know make and model, right? And you've got the license plate number. There's so many things that I do believe there's so many things that in the past people have just drove by and not cared and not paid attention. Sound of Freedom made it a lot easier for us to talk to our families about the things that we know to be true, right? And it made it so easier to talk to people in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually had a viewing party and purchased tickets myself and took 10 ladies and gentlemen with me to the movies. Actually, no, there was 20. There was 20, not 10. We did have 2 rows full. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I was able to talk to them about what was going on in our town. Now, when I told them there's 9 illicit massage businesses in our town, their mouths dropped to the floor. And like, what do you mean? You know, what are you talking about? And that's what modern day brothel is. It's the massage businesses. Or it's, you know, those homes like we were talking about that have, you know, 20 girls that go in and out, or the different people that go in and out of the home, and those girls never leave that house. You know, if people actually paid attention, you'd probably see where people don't ever leave homes. That is where you've probably got that's trafficking in general. If they're not leaving, but other people are coming and going, but you see certain individuals, especially females, not leaving the home. Yeah, that's a red flag for us. And we get our leads from different areas. I haven't touched on that real quick. So, you know, if anyone thinks that they do see something in their area, first of all, we want you to call your law enforcement. We can't help you when we're in Texas. However, you know, we can't help you as far as calling your law enforcement. We don't know them. Are they vetted? Can we trust them? Again, we took 2 years just to know who we could talk to in Texas, right? And we're very particular about that. We have to be. Criminal investigation directors are pretty much the only ones that we deal with, or our special agents that we do know. So you can send us leads, but we definitely don't want to take any time away that's needed as well. So if it's not in Texas, please do call your local law enforcement, but call state. Call your state law enforcement as well. Don't just leave it at local and follow up. You have a right to follow up. Now, whether they can tell you what is happening, no, they can't. However, you have a right to call and say, was anything ever done about this? I'm still seeing this occur. You know, if you see something in your area or whatever. So I just encourage people to report things and to follow up on them. Don't make one phone call. Okay, it's taken care of, and walk away. Just make sure that things are followed up on, because I'll tell you, Janet, most of your people nowadays, most of your most of your judges, your DAs, they don't want to prosecute prostitution. So we have to go about it and be creative, and we have the amazing people that we do working in investigative intelligence, and they have to be creative, and, you know, they have to find the money laundering. They have to find the RICO cases. But we do have someone that's over 18 years into this fight that definitely knows how to do that very well. So, and you've talked to her space. So, yeah. I can tell you right now that I've been given a little bit of information that I can tell. I have to be very broad right now. A lot is going on behind the scenes. The rings are becoming more advanced. They're using counterintelligence programs, like I was telling you. Online information is being distributed via AI, not just people now. That makes it harder for us to deal with it. And many ads are deep fakes that are connected to hackers. So you have to pay attention. You have to watch what you're doing. We do have volunteers. We take on volunteers because I know I have probably someone wondering, how can I get involved? So we do take on volunteers, but we don't just take on any volunteers. Like one of us has to know the volunteer. We have to have met you before. We have had to have worked with you in certain arenas, right? Like I have some research volunteers that I've worked alongside of for quite a while now. And so they've come on board with us. We've got social media volunteers that help me, spread stuff out online. We have, what else do we have? We have IT volunteers. If you have a gift, we could probably use you as a volunteer. Because like I said before, we don't use our donations for those types of things. We all are volunteers when it comes to Shepherd's Watch, every single one of us. And your time's valuable. And we want you to use your gifts, right? So that you do feel good about what you're doing and you feel like you're making an impact with that. And we all can make an impact. We all can help out. So definitely connect with me. If I don't know you, we can still find a place for you. It just may not be so close to the team, depending on, where we can put you at. I will go ahead and
best fit.
you do get a background, you do get straight, you pay for your background check. All of us are vetted. There's no one that isn't. I can't say it enough. Vetted is the word that you want to remember taking away from this call, this whatever we're on podcast right now. Because even when you're listening to me, vet us, go out and watch some of those spaces we've done and listen to our lead investigator talk. If you can find a Shepherd's Watch space that we hosted, or at one of my spaces that actually has Shepherd's Watch in the top of it, you're probably going to hear our lead investigator talk, and you can be rest assured after hearing her that we don't we don't play around. We're very serious with what we do.
And on your Twitter, when they go to your Twitter account, wouldn't that be under media? And they just click on your media part of your thing, and go down the list, and they should be able to find all your Shepherd's Watch.
Well, that's what Janet said.
Right?
Don't hold me to it. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's where they're at. So go down to her media, and when you go to her, because I'll keep sharing her Twitter handle in the chat, and you just go there and follow her. Then you can go to her anytime you want, but you should be able to go and click on the media portion of her profile and just go down the timeline and find the different spaces that she's done or that she's shared, because I'm sure she shared many good ones, and you can go through and listen to a few of them and take the information and take notes. And they also share links and things like that with the different spaces that we're in. So there should be tons of information for you on her timeline. So that I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that.
Thank you very much for that. And I thought of one thing that's very important. I know it's very important for a lot of us who also are truth fighters when it comes to, on X and everywhere in the United States. We do not take government grants. That is to not be influenced by the way we treat domestic or migrant children cases. So we do depend on private donors and corporation sponsorships. Yeah.
Yeah, someone just shared something in the chat about an Amber Alert in Charlotte, North Carolina. And that made me think about my next thing that I want to share with everyone. It's from the New York Post, and it's about get an Amber Alert and what you can do to help save children's lives. Basically, I'm going to share this link, and it tells you what to do when you receive an Amber Alert and what to look for and how to put it on your phone and look it up and understand how to use it. So it's everything about the app. So I would really appreciate if you would share this on your timeline if you guys can, and because it can help with a missing child. They may not have been trafficked. Okay, they may just be lost. Maybe they were in an accident, and people don't know it yet, but it gets people to start looking for specific person or vehicle that they're in. So I'm going to share this, and I thought I could add this with our stories tonight because I thought it was something that was important, and I hopefully all of you will think it's important too, and I will definitely share it in the chat.
You're saying that, Janet, and we can't pass just for me to say a couple things when it comes to the Amber Alerts or if your child goes missing. So there's a lot of red tape and a lot of I's to dot, T's to cross. There's a checklist, and if your child, oh man, if only we had Jeremiah 17th with me right now. They know this very well. So if your child goes missing, a lot of times they may tell you to come back in 24 hours if they're a teenager because they could have possibly ran away. I want to encourage you to not just sit and wait for 24 hours. I want to encourage you to reach out to a private investigation team who specifically looks for missing children. If you can do that and you can afford it, do it as soon as you can. Because there was a daughter. There was a teenager who was trafficked from the Dallas Mavericks game, and my friends have heard me say it 15,000 times, but there's always someone who hadn't heard it. She was sold to 3 different rings in 72 hours. If she would have not have been, and she was straight up trafficked. So trafficking is being coerced, right, in some form or fashion to do something for the benefit, and it doesn't even have to be monetary, I don't believe. I know more about sex trafficking than just the trafficking in general, but it's doing it, it's coercing them or manipulating them or drugging them to do it against, and it's obviously not just a choice that they've done this. Well, this was trafficked by someone who walked up and said, "Hey, you look bored, you want to come out and hang out in the parking lot until this game's over?" And she did, and she got taken immediately. So please don't wait. Do not wait 24 hours before you go back. You find someone. You get your neighbors involved and go out and search yourself. Do not wait 24 hours. Now, I've always got to say, discuss this with law enforcement. I'm not law enforcement, but I can tell you I'm not going to sit for 24 hours if my child goes missing. I'm going to have every person who will come outside to search with me.
And make sure you tell them about what you found out about how many times she was trafficked.
Oh yeah, she was trafficked 3 times to 3 different rings in 72 hours.
Yeah.
So 72 hours, that's 3 days. Yeah. And then it was a couple weeks before she actually was, gotten back out of safety. But there's also a profile on X I want to make everyone aware about. So NCMEC is the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And that is the list where if your child goes missing, whether they get an Amber Alert or not, eventually they're going to end up on that list. Now, why do I say eventually? Because honestly, we don't know how long it takes or what friggin' rules they're reading because every state is different. Some days there's 60 something kids getting put on there. And that's what I was going to share. There is a profile on X, Project Milk Carton. And I've sent it to Janet so she can put it in the chat.
Okay, I'm getting it.
And this is a profile on X that some amazing patriots have come together, and they have, at the moment, it is just a profile. They are getting things together to be a true organization on paper. But what they do is they're taking the pictures of the children who are on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website, who make that list that go missing and that actually get on that list. They're taking those children and getting their pictures and putting them on milk cartons like it used to be so that can be distributed around. It's way more eye-catchy than a picture on the missing poster. So many people walk by that. So many people scroll by that. I like the way they do this. It really does, to me, get more people involved because it's not
this
just
is the one right here.
Yes.
I just brought it up. This is the website.
So they use that information and they put it on milk cartons and they put it on Project Milk Carton on X. Please go follow them. Start sharing that information out. But that is the list. And here's something about that list. So we watched those whistleblowers talk about those unaccompanied minors tonight. Okay, first of all, those children aren't on that list if they go missing. Those 85,000 that we know for sure, but we know it's way more. They're not, there's no picture or their information on that list. There are no migrant children on that list whatsoever, only domestic. So when we tell you that we need you to call those senators and that, House of Representatives, and we need you to pay attention to Project Milk Carton because, Nick Mick, we need to get those kids out there. There's a very big reason for it. Those children and that unaccompanied minors aren't even making this list. So no one's looking for them. We need that program under review now. Now.
I'm sharing that in the chat again.
And follow up with those senators. Thank you. And follow up with the senators in the House of Representatives. Follow up with them. Make sure that they received your call. If you have to leave a message, email them. Make sure they got your phone call. And then ask them to confirm they got your email. I can't stress it enough. All of the things I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to stand up for our children, which is our future.
Yeah, even if they're not your children,
yes,
they're your country's children. Okay,
yes,
they're children who need us to try to defend them and try to find out why they're still missing. Okay, and the other thing is that without us, who's going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. You're not seeing it on the news every day. Okay. So it's up to us to make sure that we give it to everyone we see, and hopefully they'll share it with someone else, share it in their church, or share it with their bowling league, or any other organization they might be involved in, or maybe they're on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook, but it sure be nice to know that anyone that watched this show on YouTube would take the link and share it on their Facebook account or whatever other account, Telegram, or whatever it is that they might be on. I try to share it on all my things, on my Discord, on my Rumble, with my friends on Telegram. I share it with as many people as I possibly can. I even text it to my family and friends on my phone. So that's the best I can do, is do that. And if I do see something, I say something, because I'm one of those people that don't mind talking to total strangers or making phone calls if I think it's going to help someone.
Well, and I can tell you too, Janet, and I don't know specifics, but I know enough, and I'll say I'll keep it this short. Definitely follow Project Milk Carton, because knowing the amazing men who are behind that and ladies that are behind that profile, I'm sure they've got something in their pocket they're working on to help all of us with all of that. So make sure they follow there. And I do want to say too, it might be something you want to look into. Jeremiah definitely knows a whole lot more about Nick Mick than I do. 17th knows a whole lot more about it, and they could educate y'all big time on Nick Mick. We have to know what to do when our kids go missing, and we have to know how they treat it. And it's not good. And I'm not an expert in that area, so I can't say any more on that. I'm not an expert in any area. I can just tell you what we know from our cases in Texas when it comes to sex trafficking.
And one of the things I remember you saying is that if you do see something, you think you see a child that's being trafficked and being in a vehicle, being put in a vehicle or whatever, that she says, do not approach them.
Absolutely.
Just to call the sheriff's department or the police department and report them, and to make sure that if you have your phone on you, to please take pictures of the car and the license plates.
And,
so that
if you're at a safe distance and you don't think they're going to come at you, we say if you can get a picture of the perp, that's even better too.
Yeah,
A picture of the perp makes it even
close up pictures as possible because you can zoom in on your phone from a distance.
Yes.
Phones are really good now, but things like that, and do that if you can, because try not to get involved in any way because you might endanger the child. So,
yes. And you know, even if you don't, so I have to say this as well, even though if something doesn't happen right then and you think, oh, the child's not going to be endangered, a lot of times if you try to intervene, that child or that person is going to be abused worse when they're out of your line of sight because they spoke to you or they got your attention and therefore it's their fault. Yeah, all the things. I want to thank you so much for this. I enjoy coming on with you so much.
well, I enjoy it and I feel good because I sleep well at night knowing that we did something, even though I didn't actually go get a kid off the street. The fact that I got people, there's 157 people watching right now that are still watching the show. So,
wow,
that's more people than I would be able to talk to in a day for sure.
Well,
so somebody's watching. I got Rumble on X and on YouTube. So that's a collection of people that may not have known anything about any of this. And that to me is a start. Okay. And all the links that I've been sharing, I've been trying to share them on the different apps. And, it's a pain in the butt, but I have to do it that way because they're not linked together. YouTube doesn't really like other people, I guess, getting into their airtime, but I still try to do it anyways.
Well, you know what they try to call pedophiles. So there's
yeah, there you go. They want you to call them minor attracted persons.
Yeah.
But the thing is that each one person that we can get any information to, that one person might be a person that's going to save someone tomorrow. We don't know.
Yeah.
So just by doing what we're doing, one day at a time, one person at a time, maybe we'll save some children. And that's what I'm hoping we can do. But we can do it together. But I want to say thank you so much, Brandi, for coming on my show again. And anytime that you got something else that might be coming out or something new, just let me know because I will save a Thursday for you.
I will
so
do
we
it.
can do this again because every little bit helps. I really do believe that in my soul. I think it makes a big difference on saving anyone that we can save or any new information we can get out. We don't know what the person that's getting this information is going to be able to do with it. So
you don't, and you don't know who might not need the information right then, but you don't know what they're going to see down the road.
Yeah.
If they know who to call for help and what to do, it makes it a lot quicker, and people tend to be able to get things done, more efficiently. And if you do things right. Now, oh my gosh, I know we're wrapping up, but I got to say something real quick.
Okay.
Because let me tone it down. So recently, there has been, and there's profiles that will, the pedo hunters, right? The ones that want to pretend to be girls or boys that are younger to attract the pedophiles, and then they will want to meet them and put them on camera. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
I've seen those videos.
Why do I want you to not do that? There's Mikey. The reason I don't want you to do that is because you are jeopardizing that case. Only law enforcement can do that. And what's even funnier, and one day we'll have to get him on later when he can talk more about it, and he does talk about it in Spaces. But long story short, me and Mikey always tell people this: you're gonna screw it up. You need to call people that know what they're doing. There was a situation where a dad was able, because he was educated enough in this arena, that his daughter was approached, and he was able to call law enforcement and say, coach me through it till you can get to it yourself, because they couldn't get to it over the weekend, or it was a holiday or something. And they coached him through it. It has to be law enforcement. You cannot be I'm going to go beat on my chest and call out this pedophile on a camera. That's not how it works. Yes, that dad was him. So please don't do that. And I don't care for the fact of you're going to let that predator walk away when that goes to a trial, if they even get arrested. They're going to walk away. If they have a good attorney, they're going to walk, because it wasn't done properly, and then they're allowed to go roam and do it all over again to someone else. So please know, when you see those profiles that do that, you are not helping by encouraging them with comments. You are not helping them by encouraging them with shares. It's sickening. I saw one of them go on Alex Jones because he got shut down on X. Well, you know what? I'm actually glad he did. And if I get backlash for that, for saying that, oh, flipping well, because that is encouraging people to do that, and that totally screws up the case. And I'm done with that one. But yeah, I had
that's good, because so many people now are so worried. Okay, well, I'll start off by saying this first. I have lots of people that I'm still following and friends with on X. Okay, when I joined, and they joined around the same time as me, I have I think 10,000 followers now on here, something like that, and they have 20 something thousand. Okay, so they flew right by me for whatever it is that they shared. They thought was more important. But the thing is that when you get that many people and you start getting higher and higher, they start saying, well, I want to make money, okay, on this app. And a lot of apps do that. They pay you depending on how many clicks you get or things like that, how much it's shared or whatever, liked. So if a person thinks, well, if I put this video on here because it's getting lots of views, or I make these kind of videos and I put them on my X, I'll get more clicks and that'll be more money. Okay, they're not thinking about the content anymore. They're thinking about the clicks. Okay, children are not clicks. Okay, important information about the shooting of the president of the United States shouldn't be for a click. Okay, any of that, none of those things should be for clicks.
No.
So if you're on there just to get numbers, or whatever they call it, some kind of something farming or something like that,
yes, engagement farming.
Yeah, engagement farming. Yeah. If you're doing it for that, then you're doing detriment to, especially with stuff that, like what Brandi and I talked about tonight. That isn't what we're doing it for. We're doing it because I'm not making any money. Brandi's not making any money tonight. We're doing it to get information out, to get you to know. Don't go and walk over to that car because you think something's going on. Call 911. Take pictures, but don't get involved because you might endanger the child worse if you walk over there. The best thing to do is to take pictures and call the police, and just like she said, follow up on it. That's how we can help these kids.
And Mikey said something good in the chat that we touched a little bit on, but I'll repeat it and say what he wrote. Report child sex abuse material to the right people, not the social media companies like X and Facebook. When you report it to them, they may take it down. They don't always, especially X. I'm seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
But when you report it to them and they take it down, then investigators don't have a clue who that was. They have nowhere to look. They can't get IP. All the things can't be done if that account goes down, that profile goes down. So please send it to the appropriate people, whether that be me, which again, I'm TruthFighter33 on X. You've also got Relentless Mikey. If you know him on X, he is the same. He can handle that as well. Don't just report it to the platforms. It takes away the lead if this truly is child sex abuse material, and it takes away the predator's information.
Hey, Mikey, will you share your handle in the chat?
Yes, please, Mikey.
I just shared Brandi's again. I've been sharing it all night. But if you would share yours so people can follow you, so they know, hey, this is another person that I should follow and send information to, or DM if I think of something or I want to know something. And when either one of them post on their timeline about spaces they're involved in, then you have a chance of being able to go in and listen for yourself, the information
Yes.
that they're trying to share.
And me and Mikey are scheduled together again. I'm super stoked. We don't always get scheduled together, but we're getting it more. So to find me more a little bit, just to let them know. So tomorrow night again, I'm in a space with Jeremiah Bullfrog too, who's
What
on
time?
the chat, and 7 o'clock Central.
7 Central. Okay.
It changed. Yes, 7 o'clock Central.
Mhm.
It is a sharp 2 hours. I love him. He's a new friend of ours. He's really cool. I say I love him. I love his personality. I don't know the man from Adam, right? But his name is Matt Youngblood. He's had us twice already. This is gonna be the third one. We're gonna do NGOs and trafficking, and then Tuesday night will be our Trafficking Tuesday space. Fast forward to August 3rd, I'm going to be with Mikey in a space, the 3rd? Yes, the 3rd at noon.
Okay.
The Ranger vets and Leos are going to hold a space for trafficking for me and Mikey to speak. So we are getting around and trying to talk everywhere we can because we have to educate. We have to. And I do encourage you to definitely, you and Mikey's got to come on. Guys, Shepherd's Watch does the intel side, the investigative intelligence side. Call to Rescue that Mikey is a volunteer for, actually searches for the missing children and missing people.
Well, I'd love to have him join me on the Thursday night if he'd like to.
He needs to.
Send me a DM, Mikey, and just let me know when's a good time for you and what you would like to talk about, and I'll see if I can dig up some stuff too to share that has something to do with whatever it is your topic is going to be for the night that we get together. That would be great.
Awesome.
I would love to do it.
And just like volunteers for us, you can be a volunteer for Call to Rescue and actually go search. Now, yes, again, you have background checks. You know, you have to be, everything's got to be checked out, but you can help. You can canvas areas and help. And people just need to know how to help right now. So many, you know, they don't know what to do. It's so overwhelming when you look at the problem. So yeah, definitely message me about volunteering with us. And I've given all this stuff about donating, and I've enjoyed this a lot.
It's been great. I always love hanging out with you, even if we're just on Telegram, Gavin, whatever.
Yes.
But it is nice to hang with people that have the same wants for what's best for our country and for our children, and to be able to do something about it. You know, like you said, even if you can just go out and walk through the woods and let people know, I went through this. This is the area that I went through and we didn't see anything, but you did something. Or if you did find something, then you could take pictures of it and call the police and say, hey, I found this. This is what we found, and I haven't touched it, but it looks like it might be something that you guys wanted to look into. I mean, you just don't know. And the best thing to do is to talk to others that are involved so that you know that the right procedures to take when you do volunteer, because you don't want to be the one that makes a mistake because you're trampling all over stuff.
Well, and they do train you. You know, you do go through training if you want to do something like that. So you're definitely equipped with what you need once you're put, you know, to task of what you need to do, regardless of which organization. So, and I also see we got a link. So the link for Project Milk Carton. So they are they're on 4 different platforms right now. Truth Social, Facebook, X. Come on, help.
Are they on Rumble?
No. Facebook, Truth Social, X, and
Instagram.
Yeah, maybe.
Is it Instagram or Snapchat?
I don't know. It's got to be Instagram. No Snapchat. No. So they are a profile right now. There's not an organization link, but their website will be coming soon, and Janet will definitely share that out once and I'll definitely be shouting them out too. Yeah,
I did. I talked about, might have been when the last show we were on, but I don't remember. I've done a few shows with like KT Truther and some others about children, you know, different things that, depending on had to do with kids. And one of the things I talked about was a child, a 13-year-old boy that was on Snapchat. And he was talking to someone he thought was another girl, 12 or 13 years old, his age, and that she had supposedly asked him to send pictures of his privates or something like that. And he did. And then after he did, this person threatened to share this with people in his family if he didn't pay her or them, whoever it was, $25 a day on PayPal. So after this kid was doing this every day, he said, I'm just a kid. I don't have a job. I can't do this. My mom's going to find out and I'm not going to be able to pay you any more money. And the kid ended up committing suicide in his front yard.
Sextortion is very real.
It's so sad to think about it. But the thing is that Snapchat wasn't going to give the mother the information of the person that supposedly was on the other end of the messages. And so she sued. I think it was Nancy Grace. But the thing is, I try to tell parents, don't let your kids have these apps. There's so much porn and disgusting stuff on X that I would never let my teenager be on X.
I'm just grateful I don't have a minor anymore.
It's not an app that I would want a kid to be on. And if you are going to give your kid a $900 phone, you should have all the passwords. You should be able to take that phone from your kid at any time, since it's yours and you're letting them use it, and look at anything that they're doing on their phones, what pictures they're sharing, all those things, because they could be talking to someone that is pretending to be someone.
And then now you're going to bring that up. So I cannot go away without saying this. So, if you do find any type of pictures like that, or if you think that your child has sent pictures, do not download anything. Do not screenshot anything if you don't have to. Take that device and call law enforcement immediately. Okay. That way we know that you're not incriminating yourself, because if you send it anywhere, if you download it, you are now possessing and distributing child pornography, whether it's your child or not.
And the thing is, if you call them or you get a hold of the right people and they're able to get the information from your phone, they may be able to find out who that person is.
Oh, they'll find out quickly.
Sharing information with, and get the right people behind bars. But if you say something or do something, they're going to know that you've done something, and they're not going to find them. So the best thing to do is not say anything.
You don't interact.
Please. That's right. Don't interact.
Go back to the do not interact with it. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, because you don't want to scare them away. Every one of these people, like in the movie that we with Freedom, the Freedom movie, that one when they kick in the door and the guy's on the computer. They had to do it all at precise time at the exact same time, so none of them could warn the others.
Correct.
So it's very important to let the professionals follow through with everything. And
that was 3 locations.
Yeah, so you have to do your part by not interfering and only getting a hold of the people that need to know about it, so they can take care of it and do it when it needs to be done. Because by them getting on there investigating your phone, they might find out that this person is talking with 3 people.
Yeah.
Okay. And that way they can go to all 3 of the people that are sending whatever at the same time. And if you say something like, we're going to get your ass, or because you're mad because you see what your child has sent them, or whatever it is, your passion gets involved, that person's going to get hold of the other people, and you're not going to catch anybody. And then they just move on to the next set of kids. Yeah. So the best thing for you to do is stay out of it. Stay out of it. Just turn it over and let the professionals deal with it.
And if you, and I've had this happen, if you feel that maybe your local law enforcement isn't going to respond to it, and you know that from the way they've acted before about something, you can give me a call. I had someone have to call me with the same type of issue we're talking about, and I went straight to our lead investigator, got the information from her in that state that they needed a call, and they were put into contact with the Bureau of Investigations in that state, and they did take care of it within a couple of days, because it was holiday when she called. As soon as that Next business day rolled around, 8 a.m. They were calling her back. So they do, you know, people do respond. You just got to find, you just need to make sure nothing falls on deaf ears. If you don't get a response, reach out to one of us and let us check it out and see if there's somebody else we can get you in contact with.
Just don't give up. Don't
No,
give up.
never.
Just hang in there, and you will find someone that will listen to you. Sometimes it just takes a little longer, but once you do find the right people, something can change, and we just have to have faith that we can do that.
Okay, and there is only 3. Yeah, X, Truth Social, and Facebook for now on that.
Okay.
On that, but all right, guys.
Well, thank you very much, everyone, for hanging out with us. 167 people. That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, go find us.
Yeah, but I've shared so many good links in the chat tonight, and I'm going to be posting this. This is going to go on Rumble. It's going to be on my X, and it'll be on YouTube. So if you need anything or you want to find out more, just send one of us a DM and or leave a comment under the video, and I will get a hold of you, because I am very, very good at being hands-on with all my channels. I mean, it keeps me really busy, but I like being able.
That's why everybody likes your show, Janet.
So, but thank you very much. But I have a show tomorrow night. It's called Friday Night Shit Show. It's more political. This one I separated it because I liked it more to have a guest and talk about one subject, like children or our schools or our communities, things like that, and try to keep it specific.
Right.
But Friday Night Shit Show is exactly what it says. It's a bunch of random stuff, but it's all important.
Fun tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's all important stuff that you may not know about yet. And we try to share as many links as possible and talk about specific topics, about things that are affecting us, in our country and sometimes around the world, depending on what it's about. But I want to share a real quick video for the show for tomorrow night, really quick, before I close out. But thank you very much, Brandi. I love you to death.
Thank you.
And, I really appreciate you.
And thank you to everyone who watched.
Thank you guys for letting me show you that. And here we go. See you later.
God!